All right. Welcome back, everybody. Make sure this is set up just right. Little different setup. How's everybody doing? Raphael, Quade, Pete, what's going on? How is everybody doing this evening? It's been quite a week. I'm excited to dig into some books with all of you, and I actually need your all's thoughts on this. What kind of books are we feeling tonight? Do we want something fun? Currently in a hallway waiting out a possible tornado. Quade, stay safe. My son Elliot was stressing because there was a tornado watch a couple nights ago, and then kids at school were talking about the possibility of one tonight, so he was sweating it after school. Oh, what's up, Evan? Thanks for being here, man. Hope you enjoy it. Under your Raphael, that sounds good. Awesome. So, the question that I have is what kind of books, what kind of work are you guys interested in tonight? It's been a weird week for sure, for everybody, I think. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the world where everybody is just kind of on edge. But I feel like this book might be a good one to look at. I feel like this could be a fitting one. This is called American Mirror by Philip Montgomery. So, Mel, how we doing? Good to see you. Let me show you guys this book here. Rob here from the overrated Napa Valley. What's up, Pete? Jeremy, any photo books on chaos? This is American Mirror by Philip Montgomery, and I think I would say it's certainly got a little bit of that chaos. There are essays, not essays, short little texts accompanying each photo. And the photos themselves are incredible, really good stuff, but the text that goes along with it is what really makes it. Yeah. I don't know how much of this you guys would like me to read while we're flipping through, but at least a few of them, the text especially, makes a totally different impression. That's not good. Let me adjust a setting. One moment. All right. So the auto off feature on the Nikon Z8, I don't know if it's actually, hold on, I think this is frozen. 1 second, guys. There we go. Yeah, the auto shut off on the Nikon Z8. I can't figure out where that is to turn it off, so I'm just going to record to the SD card to keep this thing moving. Let me go ahead and read just this one text right here, just so you can get an idea of some context here to some of these photos. This one's titled No Indictment. 3 days before Thanksgiving 2014 at 8:30 p.m., the St. Louis County prosecutor announced that a grand jury decided against indicting Darren Wilson, a white police officer charged with the killing of Michael Brown, an unarmed African-American teenager in Ferguson, Missouri. Shortly after the announcement, enraged demonstrators flooded the streets in righteous protest, some looting and setting ablaze businesses along Florissant Avenue. The following morning, members of the Hopkins and Chapman family look out their front door as a police car passes their home. G. Taylor, good to see you. Patrick. Benji, good to see you. Appreciate y'all being here. So this book published in, I want to say around 2020, maybe 2021. Let me see. 2021. Especially at the time. Really, really important book, I think. And especially nowadays. Like I said, I think it feels like an appropriate time to revisit this one. The work itself is really strong, but this is one of those books where it really shows how much context adds to the photo. You know, there's something to be said for, you know, letting the work speak for itself or whatever, but context is everything with a lot of photos. This one here, a lot of work in Ohio in this book. I don't know really anything about Philip Montgomery, the photographer, but a lot of work around Ohio here. This one, title of the photo is Saying Goodbye to Brian. It says, a family mourns the loss of their son, Brian Malmsbury, who died of an opiate overdose in the basement of their home. Brian's death was an especially quiet one. He was 33 and had been working towards sobriety after years of addiction. Opioid-related overdoses are the leading cause of death for Americans under the age of 50, killing more individuals each year than car accidents or gun violence. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really get any more raw than this book in a lot of ways. It's a heavy one. Jim, thanks for being here. Great to see you. Nope. Yeah, a lot of this work was made around 2020. For instance, this here is a photo made during the pandemic. It says, the title of the photo is There Has to Be Some Dignity in This. It says, during the first 3 months of the COVID-19 outbreak in New York City, more than 20,000 residents died due to the virus. At capacity, funeral homes were turning away families for the first time since September 11th, 2001 attacks. Nick and Sal Ferenga own the Ferenga Brothers Funeral Home in the Bronx, a fifth-generation family business. At the height of the pandemic, the brothers had to collect bodies from crowded refrigerated trailers outside New York's hospitals and create makeshift morgues in their chapel and casket showroom. This was in April of 2020. Yeah, exactly. These are insane on their own. The context, it really, um, yeah, it hits hard. This is, I think, I mean, maybe not every photo in Ohio is related to drug abuse, but there's a lot of it, and this is another one. Drexel, Ohio. It's called A Family History. It says addiction permeates the daily rhythms of life for many residents of Montgomery County, Ohio, where the number of overdose deaths tripled to 349 between 2010 and 2016. One evening in September 2017, first responders arrived at the home of Larry Parlett after his daughter Misty, found him lying unconscious on his living room floor. It was later determined that Larry had died of an overdose. 6 months later, his son, Larry Jr., who also fought addiction, passed away. The local coroner's office stated Larry Jr.'s death was from natural causes, but Misty believes her brother died from drug use. Just such a, yeah, it's heavy. Charles, good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. It's it's been a week. Glad to be back here. This is a really strong photo. I love this one. This is called Union Break. It says, facing single-digit temperatures, members of Milwaukee Ironworkers Local take a break at a job site near Kenosha, Wisconsin. A state with a long-standing history of labor activism, Wisconsin has become a crucible in a nationwide conservative effort to destroy America's labor unions. Its right-to-work law, signed by Governor Scott Walker in 2015, eliminates the requirement for private sector workers represented by a union to pay dues. Here's another one that's definitely a heavy one. I think one a lot of people, someone I'm sure you know, would be affected. This is called Carmen's Room. It says, at a memory care unit in Chagrin Falls, Ohio, residents with dementia are housed in suites meant to look like houses, each connected by hallways that resemble small-town America. The effect is to create a sense of nostalgia and familiarity for individuals who struggle daily to remember where they are or why they're no longer living at home. Doctors are forbidden to lie to patients, yet a stage-managed environment is intended to protect residents from truths impossible to confront. By the mid-21st century, an estimated 28 million people may develop Alzheimer's, with the cost of relevant care consuming nearly a quarter of Medicare spending. Well, not that we, this is a bleak time in America. Very bleak time. And a lot of people are going to be affected by a lot of the changes that are happening seemingly by the hour. This one's called Hot Shot. Across California, fire season is now year-round, and firefighters battle fires that are hotter, longer, and more extreme. A 2018 state-commissioned report on climate change projected that under current emissions trends, the average burn area in California will increase by 77% by the end of the century. Firefighter Ryan Hart, who is a member of a hotshot crew with the U.S. Forest Service, works to control a burn on the eastern edge of the Kincade Fire, which started on October 23rd and burned 77,758 acres, destroying 349 structures. I'll be buying this book as soon as I can. Well, I'm glad to hear that. This is this really is. It's a like I said, it's an important book, I think. But the work is incredible. I mean, the title of the book being, if you're just joining us, American Mirror, very appropriate title when you're looking at your country's current state. I mean, this, when it came out, it was fairly fresh work. You know, there was work from the pandemic, and then it was published in 2021. So it was very fresh, but looking at it now is still, it has the same effect. Jeremy, yeah, exactly. That's the thing. That was how I was, kind of feeling tonight. I thought, do we want a complete distraction? Do we want to escape? Or would it be appropriate to look in the mirror, So, here we are. This one is a really strong photo. The light, being able to see that clear definition of the tear, really strong photo. It's called Phoning Home. Inside the designated detox wing of the Montgomery County Jail, an incarcerated woman begins to cry while speaking to a family member on the outside. While awaiting trial, many detained individuals facing addiction experience While awaiting trial, many detained individuals facing addiction experience violent and painful withdrawal symptoms, otherwise known as dope sick. Although state prison officials are required to provide reasonably adequate medical care, people with opioid dependence do not always have access to addiction recovery drugs such as methadone. Oh, G. Taylor, let me know your first name or what you go by. I'm reading your message in the chat now. That's awesome. I haven't picked up Chicago. Let me know how it is once you do, once it does arrive. And I've always been curious about those one picture books, so I'm stoked you got one. That's awesome, especially from Sage. Greg, awesome. Good to know. This one here, nobody's above the law. The fundamental question is, who rules the streets? The U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions said in 2018, the government or the outlaws. During his tenure, Sessions redirected the priorities of the Justice Department, taking a strident approach to drug law enforcement and illegal border crossing. In November 2018, President Trump fired Sessions, who had recused himself from the inquiry into Russian interference in the 2016 election, and replaced him with Matthew Whitaker, a Trump loyalist. Yep. Zero tolerance. In 2018, Carla, a 26-year-old mother of four from the Mexican state of Zacatecas, hope I pronounced that right, tried to seek asylum in the United States. After being denied entry by Customs and Border Protection, one of her children looks out over the Rio Grande from the bridge separating the United States and Mexico. Under the Trump administration's immigration reform policy, better known as the zero tolerance policy, immigration agents regularly turned away asylum seekers. At the time, Attorney General Jeff Sessions stated that the migrants facing domestic violence or gang violence at home would not qualify for political asylum. Ugh. Yep. Jeremy, that makes sense. God. What a timeline. This is called The Aftermath. After the murder of George Floyd by police, thousands of protesters thronged the streets of Minneapolis chanting, "Say his name." By day, mourners from all over the country converged at the scene of the crime, but darkness brought violence as businesses were looted and lit on fire. Here's another one, photo from the Kincaid fire that we read about in one of the previous ones. This is called Collateral Damage. As the rain from Hurricane Harvey fell over Houston, the federal government, fearing a catastrophic dam breach, decided to flood Houston's energy corridor, one of the city's most affluent areas. Some homes incurred more than $500,000 in damage as water surged to ceilings, forcing residents to flee to hotels, friends' mansions, or country homes. Mother Nature doesn't discriminate between economic classes, one resident said, and she always wins. Can't get over how great every single one of these is. All these photos are amazing. These are stunning. Yeah. They're haunting. And they genuinely do. This book feels like a collection of all individually strong photos. You know what I mean? Some books, there are transitional photos that kind of help bridge going from page to page, you know. This book really, I mean, every spread stands on its own with the context and the photo itself. Yeah, it's a really, really strong one. Someone gearing up here in Queens. Yeah, that Arlington photo. Yeah. I mean, it's every single one. This here, the light in this photo, like clearly, well, maybe some kind of flash off to the side. It's been prevalent in a few of the photos. This could also be some of the street lighting, but this light mixed with this silhouette of the people above the gas station standing on top, yeah, just so good. This is election night. On November 8th, 2016, thousands of supporters, staff, and members of the media congregated beneath the glass ceiling of Manhattan's Javits Center. I don't know if I've ever heard that said. Maybe that's how it's pronounced. In anticipation of Hillary Clinton's election victory. Across town, the Trump campaign hosted a party at the New York Hilton Midtown. There was a cash bar and a cake shaped into a hyperreal bust of Trump. Around 3 a.m. on November 9th, Trump took to the podium and claimed victory. "It is time for us to come together as one united people," he said. "It's time." Yeah. In Ohio, this is called Detox Wing. In Ohio, the Montgomery County Jail has been forced to dedicate an entire wing to treating individuals such as Melanie Whitfield, who are suffering from withdrawal while incarcerated. The jail has also hired full-time staff who are trained to provide both medical and emotional support. This photo of literally children carrying their boxes to the moving truck. Photos titled Truck or Curb. Eviction in America is so commonplace that there are entire moving companies that specialize in eviction-related removal. Their crews, working in concert with law enforcement, enter homes, box up belongings, and deposit them in the streets. As the socialist Matthew Desmond has reported, the business of eviction also supports data mining companies who sell landlords tenant screening reports that list past evictions and court filings. Meanwhile, families have watched their income stagnate or fall as housing costs have soared. Some tenants, like Kara McIntyre Butler, claim that they have withheld rent money because of safety hazards, egregious living conditions, and lack of basic home maintenance by the landlord. Another very heavy photo. If I can't, if I can't beat them, join them. At age 24, Veronica Ronnie Elam, along with her family, has struggled with a cycle of addiction for as long as she can remember. Both of her parents are addicted to heroin, and she began using at the age of 16. I felt more or less like if I can't beat them, join them. I tried for so long, she said. I can remember being real little, trying to fight with my family to stop getting high, and it was like I was fighting a losing battle. Nobody would ever talk to me about anything unless I had money to give them or some drugs to give them. Yeah, in regards to the to the chat, I I didn't pay attention for a long time to most things, and it got to a point where uh, it's kind of hard not to anymore. And I miss the days of not worrying about things being completely removed, whether that be the true history of our country and the whitewashing of it and revising history, or removing funding to things that directly affect my family and tons of families with people with disabilities. Yeah, it's not a fun time right now, but we don't have the choice. We do, to a degree, but this is titled A Christmas Eviction. Housing is intertwined with the persistence of poverty in the U.S. Some low-income families facing impossible rent demands become used to moving between shelters and the streets in the aftermath of an eviction order. Shortly before Christmas Day in 2015, an eviction notice was served to a family in North Milwaukee, where one management company advertises evictions for $395, providing a hassle-free way to deal with problem tenants. Today, the majority of poor renting families spend more than half their income on housing, and millions of Americans are evicted every year. Tim, good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. Shaking hands with different people is a virtue that many are losing. This is why photography is always strong and can show things to people who are looking. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. The hands, the shaking of the hands has got to be met mutually, you know? And I'm seeing less and less mutual, I don't know, mutual anything these days. This one here's close to home down in Nelsonville. This is called Bath Time. Jennifer Vargas and her 4 children lived in a shelter for victims of domestic violence in Athens County, Ohio, until they received a federal housing voucher. Even though the family was placed in a 2-story, 4-bedroom house, they all slept in the living room, having become used to staying together in shelters. Athens County is the state's only county with a poverty rate exceeding 30%. Another one from the floods. This is called the Trophy Room. Firefighter Jeremy Annis stands in the destroyed living room of a house owned by a man who declined to be named. Wonder why. Among the many animal trophies on display were a rhinoceros, a giraffe, and a buffalo. A pair of elephant and mammoth tusks rose from the water following the devastation of Hurricane Harvey. The owner had waded through chest-high floodwater to retrieve his large stockpile of firearms, which included rifles and handguns. I always think of Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls when I see this photo. This is somewhat of a follow-up to one of the stories from earlier. This is called The Viewing. After viewing Brian Malmsbury's body, his family members gathered at a funeral home in Kettering, Ohio. 8 days earlier, Brian had been found dead from a heroin overdose in the basement of his mother's home. Brian had struggled with depression and addiction for many years. He'd always just been a sad kid, said Patty Neff, Brian's mother. I've had chills like 3 times now as you flip through this. Yeah, this is a book that will do it for sure. Another firefighter, Rashad Brooks. California's fire season gets hotter, longer, and more extreme every year. A 2008 state commissioned report on climate change projected that under current greenhouse gas emissions by trends, the average area burned in California will increase by 77% by the end of the century. Of the thousands of firefighters who battle California's blazes every year, roughly 30% of the wildland crews are inmates who earn an hourly pay of $1. This essentially invisible workforce of incarcerated individuals has labored on the front lines since 1946. I'm sure I read that when I first sat down with this, but that last statistic, or just that idea of incarcerated firefighters since 46, I don't think I remembered that they'd been doing it for that long. That just caught me off guard. That's wild. The title of this photo is The Swamp. The annual White House Correspondents' Dinner, first held in 1921, has become a glittering tradition where celebrities, athletes, journalists, and the president gather at the intersection of fame and power. Yep. Well said. This is Carolyn at home. Athens County is the poorest county in Ohio. One evening in December 2010, Carolyn Newland's husband Leonard attempted to refill a kerosene heater in his trailer when it suddenly exploded, burning 66% of his body. Leonard was previously employed as a concrete mixer. Now he is on disability. Carolyn, who often babysits her granddaughter Piper, receives supplemental security income and food stamps. The family survives entirely on government welfare programs. I love how matter of fact the captions are too. Very well presented. Yeah, I love how concise everything is. It's not just the title, it gives you just enough. And yeah, as you said, very matter of fact. I think that is, I mean, all of it together collectively, especially, like I said, being titled American Mirror, just truly just showing you this is what it is. People counting ballots in 2020. Proud Boy is the title of this one. Members of the Proud Boys rallied in Delta Park in Portland, Oregon to show support for President Trump and condemn Black Lives Matter and Antifa. 2 years earlier, the FBI had classified the Proud Boys as an extremist group with ties to white nationalism. During a televised presidential debate in September 2020, Trump told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. On January 6, 2021, supporters of the president, including members of the Proud Boys, took part in a coordinated assault of the United States Capitol to protest the election results. The riots left 5 dead and hundreds injured. Memorial. Mourners gather in front of Cup Foods at the intersection of East 38th Street and Chicago Avenue, where 9 days earlier George Floyd was murdered by a white Minneapolis police officer. And we've got some essays, and yeah, that's the end of the book. American Mirror, Philip Montgomery. Definitely look for this one. Mine was damaged when it arrived, so that's how mine looks. This is a really, really, really good book. So highly encourage you all, if you can find a copy of this one. I have no idea how available it still is, but really good book. Alex, what's up? James, thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Oh, Nancy, I'm just now seeing that. I hope you and your family stay safe from the predicted storms. Thank you. I don't know how much you guys can hear. The barn door is creaking like crazy right now. The winds are picking up. It's been nuts. I filmed a video several nights ago. Well, the most recent video that went up on the channel on the camera bag I'm using, filmed that during a crazy, crazy storm. It was insane. So, yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the book. Evan, what's up? Oh, good looking out, Pete. Pete says the book is in stock on the Aperture site. Very good. American Mirror by Philip Montgomery. Yeah, it is great. How we doing, Evan? What do you guys feel like looking at? Do we need a palate cleanser? Something a little lighter? Let's see. Starting to rock and roll here in Nashville. I think we're getting bad storms overnight. Yeah, I believe, I I believe it's supposed to storm later in the night, maybe around 1 a.m. tonight. But it looks like the next 5 or 6 days on the forecast is all thunderstorms. And next week it's going to be a high of like 42 or something. Yeah, Evan says it's so warm in Cleveland. This is the first time since last year, before I like really started working on stuff in here, that I'm like warm in the barn. I was out here earlier just setting up, like bringing my camera out and getting everything set up, and I was like, oh, it's actually too warm out here, and I had to open up the door just to let the barn breathe a little bit. Which, another thing, this book isn't really wavy. I was kind of talking about it on Instagram. Some of the books, I came out here a couple of days ago and the books were all curvy because of the humidity and temperature shifts. And I started to get a little worried. I was like, oh, what kind of long-term damage is this going to do? Are these going to be stuck like this? But they're already fine. I had several people message me and they were like, yeah, my books all look like that, like half of the year basically. So dang, this book is only, I mean, that's, yeah, only $60 for this book. That's a really good price for this book. We're supposed to be getting a couple of inches of snow. Oh, Pete, no thank you. Mel, my fiance, just said yes, Matthew. I think she wants something lighter. Yeah, those, normally I'm not reading aloud all of the books, so that's a good point. This is a heavy one just to listen to. Freezing storms in Michigan. Alex says, by the way, ended up pulling the trigger on an M4 and a Voigtlander 35 1.4 for the Baby Boy Diaries. Not a flex, but asked Matt for advice on the first live stream. Well, congrats again, Alex. How is everything going, by the way? That's awesome. Jim, you just got a copy? Amazing. And for 32? That's real good. All right, let me put this back. Find where it goes. It's up here. There we go. Something light. Oh, it's on Amazon for $32. Well, there you go. Jump on it. Something more fun. Oh, I know. Yes. You guys want happy, we're gonna get happy. This is, well, here, let me do it the right way. For every minute you are angry, you lose 60 seconds of happiness, by Julian Germain. Let me know in the chat if you have seen the video that I did years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago now at this point. Let me know if you have seen the video I did on this one, because this one is just so nice. And without a doubt, it's going to be the palate cleanser. This is going to be the feel-good one, as the title would suggest, you know. Love this. Opening up here with the actual photo of the family album. Amazing. Alex, no, I have not, but I'll look into that. I appreciate the heads up. That sounds rad. Greetings from Greenland. What's up, Carl? Thanks for being here. Oh, Mel, you got this one when I recommended it. That's awesome. I love this book. Okay, so Portrait of an Elderly Gentleman, photographs by Julian Germain with the photo albums of Charles Snelling. Let me, I'm going to lower the camera just a little bit to try and fill, or wait. Would it work if I just, is it morphing, morphing the screen? Let me try. Does that look all right to you guys? Do I have enough resolution for this? I was going to lower the camera, but if I can just increase it this way, that's way more convenient. I'm learning as I go. Cool. Perfect. This right here, just his smile through the open window in his car. It's so good. We will, you'll get all the context to this book shortly. I won't say too much yet because I want to read what was shared in the book to give you the context. One of my favorites. Just such a beautiful like sense of atmosphere in this photo. Seeing the steam from the food and him back there, but the light and the colors, everything is just so... Oh, I love this one. And this here. Love all of the streaks on this window right here. Jim, wonder if anyone has done a happy book in black and white images. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know about a happy. It makes me happy, but, you know, Elliot Erwitt's Dog's work, all of that being black and white, that's the first one that comes to mind, but he's usually, you know, top of the mind for me. But I get what you're saying, Jim. The color definitely adds that sort of, not always, but it can definitely bring out that more lighthearted feeling. Another one of my favorites. Not gonna lie, it reminds me of my grandparents in the 90s. Oh yeah, I think so much about how badly I wish I could go back and make photos from my childhood before I got a camera. The house that my mom grew up in, that my grandparents had when I was a kid, that house is no longer there. My grandpa's gone. My grandma's dealing with dementia. Both of my dad's parents are gone, and the farm that we used to go to visit them, the farm they lived on, just so much stuff where I'm like, man, I wish I could go back just to take all the photos that I never could, you know? I'm lucky that my mom and dad did. Well, really, my mom. My mom was the one who took all of the photos. She wasn't a photographer, but I'm grateful for the photos for sure. It just, yeah, the look of it. And even like going through these photo albums in this way in the book, seeing these spreads, it feels like I'm going through their photo albums. You know what I mean? Oh, it's so good. Like this, just not pictures of the family, but like their trip to the zoo or whatever, you know? Love it. ugh, that one, like, something about that one just hits me like a truck every time. This it's all just these little, and it's things that when I always talk about this in videos, like I want to shoot color because there are things that color does that I can't do with black and white. And just this little hint of warm light hitting these like corduroys, that little bit right there, adding this like warm light behind him as he's standing here. I don't know what it is, but it's like little things like that I'll see that I'm just like, oh, just this, I don't know. Little things like that just suck me into a photo. But this one is, there's nothing complex, at least, on surface level about the photo, but it just works. I love this one. So good. Eating the ice cream cone with the dogs waiting. Mel says, I've been scanning all of my fiance's family photos from the 80s and 90s, and it's been an been an awesome experience. Yeah, that's something that I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to go through it, but all of the photos I have here in the barn that were my parents, I've been using that Epson scanner, and it has been incredible for that. The context to all of these photos is coming up, so you can obviously, read a lot into the photos, but let me get a drink of water. Okay. This reads, I met Charles Albert Lucien Snelling on a Saturday in April 1992. He lived in a typical 2-up, 2-down terraced house amongst many other typical 2-up, 2-down terraced houses close to Fratton Park, the Portsmouth football ground. I was on my way there to photograph the Portsmouth versus Nottingham Forest Cup tie when I noticed Charles' house. It was yellow and orange. In that respect, it was totally different from every other house on the street. Mildly interested, and with plenty of time to spare, I crossed the road to have a closer look and discovered that this was actually a kind of shop. In the large front bay window, there were a few plants on sale for unusual prices. For example, 57 pounds or 34 pounds or 83 pounds. I went inside, and there I found some more plants and flowers sitting in plastic pots on a table covered with newspaper. The bottom half of the walls were wood-paneled and painted bright yellow. Above that, they were decorated, probably in the 1970s, with a bold paisley floral-style wallpaper. Charles appeared, quietly spoken, elderly, polite. He told me what the various flora were and said that yes, he would be happy to put some to one side for me until after the match. We talked for a while, and then I asked if he would mind looking after my camera tripod, since I had decided I wouldn't be using it at the game. He took me through to his living room and showed me where he would put it, just to be safe. On the walls of this equally brightly decorated room, there were numerous photographs of a lady I immediately understood was his wife. I said I thought they were lovely pictures, and he told me that Betty had died a few years ago now. After the match, Charlie gave me tea, a sandwich, and some biscuits. He showed me some more photos in an album and said he wouldn't mind when I asked if I could take his picture. A week or so later, I sent him the prints and a letter asking if it would be all right to come and visit him again. That's how our friendship started. Charlie was a simple, gentle man. He loved flowers and the names of flowers. He loved color and surrounded himself with color. He loved his wife. He seemed totally unambitious. All he wanted was for his children to be happy. Occasionally, he would ask if I'd like to listen to some music, and then he might play, for example, just 3 songs from a Nat King Cole LP. but we would really listen to them. Music was never something to have on in the background. He loved words and had the most well-thumbed dictionary I've ever seen. He did the Daily Mirror crossword every day. He was not a thinker, but he wondered. I bought him an atlas, and he studied it in such detail, amazed by the world. Without ever trying or intending to, he showed me that the most important things in life cost nothing at all. He was my antidote to modern living. This book is dedicated to Charlie, Nick, and Gwen. This is the third edition, and it was published in 2014 by Mac. So, if that's not a palate cleanser from American Mirror, I don't know what is. So, if you enjoyed that one, definitely check it out. Pete says, I scanned and printed over 100 Kodachrome slides. Oh, wow. Coast Guard in Alaska. That would be amazing. Oh, yeah. Appreciate that, Alex. Yeah, it's not fun for sure, man. That's something I think a lot of people can relate to that. My dad's dad had Alzheimer's really bad. By the time I was old enough to really start remembering him, he didn't really know, who we were when we came to visit. That was like my early memories of him was already kind of at that point. But then seeing other members of the family and like knowing them in ways that I didn't know him, and then watching them go through that and like see the shift it's a totally different thing. So I feel for you, man. Benji, I've been developing and scanning all day. Whiskey time. I need to develop very soon. I'm probably going to do that over the next couple of days while we get nothing but rain. I've got a bunch of film. Actually, I think it's down here. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 rolls of 35 that I need to develop. It's been a while since I've had that much film that needed to be developed. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that soon. So we'll actually see some new stuff. It's great. We're all scanning the old stuff. Next, print. We should all make zines and send to Matt. That would be rad. That'd be super cool to see. That reminded me of something. There was I'm trying to think. There was a zine or something I had. Now I'm blanking on it. I feel like there was a zine I had someone had made of old family photos. Man, I can't remember what it was now. But yeah, if you all are making zines, send them in for sure. That's another thing I think I'm going to start doing is just bringing more of the random books that get sent in, just sharing them either on the stream when they come in or in the new videos. I don't know. We'll see. Jim, what developer would you recommend for HP5? Definitely Ilfotec HC or Kodak HC110. Those are the two that I've been using for the longest amount of time. Previously, I used... Well, actually, no. With Ilford HP5, I've only used consistently Ilfotec HC or Kodak HC110. I believe there are other alternatives, and I can't remember who it is that makes it. Someone was telling me about, essentially, it's another company is making the same stuff as Kodak HC110 and Ilfotec HC. Very similar developers, the two of them are. The only time I would like alternate between the two is just based on price, whatever I can find the cheapest. I'm totally happy with everything I get using those developers, whether I'm shooting at box speed or pushing the film. Yeah, that's what I would recommend. Before, I was going to say D76 I used many years ago, but that was when I was always shooting Tri-X. So, yeah, Ilfotec HC or Kodak HC110. That's what I use. And I go with Dilutions B. Salutations from Cincinnati. What's up, Frank? Yeah, good luck, Jen. Let me know. Let me know how that goes. Evan, mail them to my PO box. PO Box 2006, Chillicothe. It's in the. It should be on my YouTube channel in like the about section, maybe something like that. But yeah, PO Box 2006, and that's Chillicothe. There you go. Yeah, so yeah, people send zines and photo books all the time, which is amazing. But I don't make videos showing every single book or zine that gets sent because, well, a lot of reasons. But I want to start sharing some of them here on stream, maybe, or in the upcoming videos, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Frank says ID11 is a great black and white developer. I don't think I tried that one. There were a few different developers before I landed on Ilfotec HC. I tried a few different developers like DDX and is it Ilfosol? Is that a developer? I can't remember. It was like I tried a few different Ilford developers, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to stick with Ilfotec HC. But I've never tried ID11. There are a few, Rodinol, however you want to pronounce it. That's another one that a lot of people use that I've never tried, but I've seen people get really rad results from it. I don't know. I'm like... I feel like I probably should have experimented with more developers over the years just because I know that makes a big difference in the look, but I've just always been happy with Ilfotec HC and Kodak HC110 and the fact that the convenience of just like, you know, taking a small amount of the developer, mixing it up each time, and then you can just dump it. You don't have to worry about like keeping it, you know, fresh stock or anything. Yeah, I've just always stuck with it, but I see other people like, oh, I tried this out and I tried this out and comparing the results. And I'm like, that looks fun, but I never do. I just always stick with the same thing. Yeah, exactly. Like Dan said. Also, if it works and the results are consistent, then stick with it. That's how I feel about it. Oh, ID11 is Ilford's version of D76. Okay. I'm like, I know that sounded familiar, but I had never used it. Let's see. Rakesh, hi Matt. Do you know any technician who still works on Mamiya 645 cameras? I don't off the top of my head, but I mean, when I toured KEH's facility and I got to see the people there working on cameras, one of them was an RB67. It wasn't a 645, but it was a Mamiya. I mean, I watched them tear things down far more than I realized they did there. So you might want to check out KEH and just give them a call and you know, talk to them, see what the process is. If that specific camera, I would assume they would. I don't see why they wouldn't, but if you want to talk to them before, I would say give KEH a call. I can't remember the name of it. There's a, maybe you guys, someone will remember. Sure, we'll try. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, stick with KEH. There was someone else I know on Instagram. People always like recommend sending cameras to them, but I can't remember. I'm blanking on their name now, but check KEH out. I've been there in person and seen them working on cameras and have seen the work that they do behind the scenes to like work on like making that a more accessible thing for camera repair and looking into the parts that are most frequently, being repaired on certain cameras, looking into where that part comes from. Can that part be remade so that you aren't just looking for donor cameras and spare parts? You can actually manufacture, like, they've done a lot of work in that regard that I was really stoked to see when I was there. So yeah, check them out. John, hi Matt, late to the live stream. Glad I didn't miss you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. We have taken a look at a couple of books. For Every Minute You Are Angry, You Lose 60 Seconds of Happiness by Julian Germain. We just flipped through this. And we earlier took a look at American Mirror by Philip Montgomery. So both very different books, but great books. So yeah, catch them on the replay. Let's see. My favorite developer for 3 years now is Black and White and Green by Flickfilm. It has the same active ingredient of Kodak Xtol, so it's environmentally friendly. One shot, mix on use. Nice. Okay. I've never heard of that. Flickfilm. Where are they based out of? Let's see. Yeah, more people using HC110 as well. Yeah, let me put this book back. Let me find one more. Let's see. Earlier, was it James, if I remember? I was trying to look a second ago. James, I think earlier, if you're still here, said something large format. So let me think about that. I'm not sure about large format, in all honesty. Okay, they're based out of Canada. Right on. Check that out. Large format. I think Leviathan. Pretty sure this is large format. And this is wild. This is, hold on. Muted the mic so I wouldn't make a super loud sound for you guys. This is Leviathan. And let me see if I can fit this. Nope. Let me rotate you. There we go. Oh, Summertime by Steinmetz, please. Okay, we'll do that instead. We can look at Leviathan some other time. Or after this, I don't care. Let's see. All right, this is a big book. We're getting... Oh, I gotta clean my sensor. You guys seeing this, like, right there? Gotta blow the sensor off. What? All right, this is Mark Steinmetz, Summertime, and it's great. Hold on, there we go. Kind of adjust this light. I forgot how big this book is. Glad it's your sensor and not my eyeballs. Yeah. Storm's picking up. The winds are, at least, out there. So good. All the hair just resting right there. Love that. Frank, these are, I believe, as most of his stuff was 6x9 with one of those Fuji GW rangefinders. Pretty sure, anyway. But they all, yeah, definitely. Everything about his work feels so candid, and I don't there are times where it doesn't feel like a photo. It almost feels like the moment before a photo would be, if that makes sense. I love the contrast of these two photos. This kid here on the hood with the OG Game Boy. Seemingly just in traffic, or something was going on where everyone was stopped. People outside of their cars. And this one, these younger kids hanging out in the trees, and then these guys with yeah, some shotgun of some kind. Mel says the Fuji 690s are amazing. The Negs are beautiful. Those are cameras I've surprisingly never tried over the years. I think I would like it, probably, but I don't know. I had the GF 670 briefly, the folding 6x7 or 6x6 camera, and that one was a lot of fun as well, but I didn't hang on to it for too long. Brian, I haven't picked that one up, but I think I've heard about it. I don't think I've seen any posts or anything, but I feel like I've heard someone talk about that. I need to look into that one. I love a good like trilogy or just collection of books that go together. As a matter of fact, if you all were here last time, maybe it was was it 2 weeks ago? Because we missed last week. I was sick. I think it was 2 weeks ago. We looked at I Love You, I'm Leaving by Matt Eich. And Matt Eich is going to be joining me for a conversation on the channel soon. So I'm super excited about that. For some great handheld large format work, check out the photography of Dean. Oh, dude. Dean. Yes, Dean Chooch Landry. Dean is a mutual friend. He played in a band with, I can't remember what band he was in, but he was in a band with, or his band toured with my friend Richter's band for a while. And that's how I met Dean many, many years ago. Yes, Jim, I did. I owned a Rolleiflex, a couple Rolleiflexes over the years. I've always loved this photo. A couple Rolleiflexes over the years, and a Yashica Mat 124G. But I don't own any at the moment. That's such a good photo. I have the new, I have the GSW 690. It's the 65 millimeter version. So that's on, what does that equate to on on 6x9? Is that like 28 or 35? $28 or very close. Okay, cool. That's awesome. John, looking at Steinmetz' website, he has been a busy dude. Yeah, lately there have been, it feels like a new book from him every few months. I can't keep up. My wallet can't keep up with that. So I haven't picked up any new ones from him in a minute. Always loved this one too. That right here, the shadow or reflection of the tree, I guess. I don't know if this is why they were paired together, but immediately I would assume the pom-poms and then the hair. That's got to be the reasoning, right? Hey, two questions. Would you ever publish a book with a publisher, or is it self-publishing the best move nowadays? Also, do you have any recommendations for zines/bookmakers? Also, Matthew Nobert says, "What's up? What's up, dude?" Okay, would I ever publish a book with somebody? Yes, I would. If it made sense, I guess. Like that's going to be one of those like it depends questions, and I don't want to cop out by just saying it depends, but I'll speak on it for a minute. I personally am lucky that I can do more self-publishing stuff because I've been online for 11 years on YouTube, and like I've built up somewhat of an audience where self-publishing, I have more eyes on what projects I'm doing than someone who doesn't have a following or a YouTube channel or whatever. So because of the YouTube channel, I'm able to do those kind of things. Whereas if I wasn't doing it, I don't know how I would still self-publish, but I wouldn't be able to self-publish, the amount that I am able to, whether meaning the amount of books that I order or the quality of the book, maybe. Like there are those things that are going to depend on how big you are able to go, and self-publishing is expensive. You don't really make money with self-publishing. It's all just feeding itself in a way. So it's a labor of love. I don't know enough about what it would look like to work with a publisher to speak on it and say what the easier route or more difficult route, because that's the thing. It's working with a publisher doesn't just mean they're going to do everything for you. So it's really going to depend. For recommendations for places to make zines or books, Edition One is who printed my book, and I was super, super happy with how that turned out. So Edition One is located in California. They have printing facilities internationally, but their main headquarters are in California. And other services like Mixam, 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 or Blurb or MagCloud, services that are like print on demand where you're not ordering 500 copies at once. I mean, you can, but you don't necessarily have to with all of those options. Which book did you just page through? This was Mark Steinmetz's Summertime. Those sites, the printing on demand kind of things, you're not going to have to worry about overhead and paying for all of the books being printed at once. It could be just when people order one, or you can order them as you want, that sort of thing. So look into those. However, don't be afraid to look into like very DIY setups for or processes for a zine, like going with just a laser jet printed, simple, Xeroxed, quick and dirty zine. That's an easy, low cost entry to just getting your work out there, and that's what it's about. So don't be afraid to start with that. I've done that with my first zine was just printed at the local Office Max. Check out any like local printing places you have, just for something simple like that. If you don't want to print it at home, if you want to do it real quick and dirty, and you've got a laser printer or something, like, do your thing, you know. But there are options out there for sure. Mel, thanks for hanging. See you next time. Let's see. Wherever he is, these people are very comfortable with him because these portraits are super intimate. That's one thing about Mark Steinmetz's work that I really appreciate, is that level of closeness, and almost like they don't care that he's there. There's something about that. Yes, I do. What is your name? Herm? I'm gonna call you Herm for now. But let me know what you go by. Yes, I do still have Leviathan. It is here. And we'll take a look at that. This is Morgan Ashcombe. Hermetaschism. Okay, got it. This is a book on Skatopia, which is a skate park in Ohio. Skate park compound. Wild place. But it's in Ohio. I believe near Meigs County, if it's not in Meigs County. I've never been. I've got a friend who used to live there. But it is anarchy, truly. But we were asking for large format earlier, and pretty sure this entire book is all... I don't know if it's 4x5 or 8x10, but I believe it's all large format. When I say this book, I mean, if you've never seen it, you're going to be very curious as to what the hell is going on. Thanks for the insight. Been looking to print small batches of zines and been wondering what printing method to go with. Yeah, experiment with it, you know, try some stuff out, try a very low cost, low effort way, and just make some for yourself and just see how it feels. Like, figure out what you like about it, what don't you like, what you would do differently. It's really hard to plan out stuff like that, any kind of like physical thing. It's really hard to plan out all of it in your head and like get a feel for it until you start, you know, actually getting your hands dirty and like experimenting with it. That's when you'll really start to, you know, you'll be answering the questions you didn't even know you had yet. You know what I mean? I think, you know what? I'm going to try something here. Maybe. Let's try this. I don't think there are any like 2 photo spreads here, and this will get you a better look at the photos. People having battles with fireworks. Very typical. Sleeping on the ground outside. Oh, I was wrong. Still fits. There we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, very, very much so, Frank. This one is it's very authentic, I'll say that. There is nothing really like Skatopia. Pretty sure they're just sleeping. That is Bruce, the owner of Skatopia. It's a wild spread. Just all different bones. John, Matt, have you ever visited the Museum of Contemporary Photography in Chicago? No, I haven't, but next time I'm in Chicago, I would love to. Yeah, this book is, I feel like it's like a lot of large format. When you see it in person, in print like that, it's hard to get it to come across through video the same way. Super good. Believe, yeah. That's everything. Leviathan by Morgan Ashcombe. Bring this back. There we go. So that's Leviathan by Morgan Ashcombe. Get the name for you so you can see it there. Had that one for a while now. I remember first time I think I had other books by Morgan Ashcombe at the time. I don't anymore. And I had no idea this book even existed, let alone that it was that there was a book on Skatopia like that. John, it is excellent. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I haven't been to Chicago other than, I shot a wedding there once, and I've stopped in Chicago a couple of times, like while passing through. But I haven't really spent a ton of time in Chicago. I would like to, though. I've got a good friend who lives there. Or I've got a few friends that live there, but one of them is from this area, and now he lives out there. Shout out Jalen, if you happen to see this one. But yeah, let me move this back over. Fighting my computer right now. There we go. So this coming, well, let me think. Leviathan looks great. Oh yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, James. Polly B, what up? While Passing Through is a good book title. Hell yeah. Speaking of, that just reminded me, speaking of zines and books and all that, if people don't know, Polly B, let me, 1 second. Let me get this pulled up. We're going to just drop this right here. So We'll Carry On by Polly B. Maybe that'll post. There's a link in the chat right now to Polly B's new zine. If you're all here, you're clearly fans of zines and photo books. Polly's got a brand new zine coming out. Jump on the pre-order. Congrats, Polly. I pre-ordered one myself, so I'm sure we'll take a look at it here together once it comes in. But everybody watching, check out the link I just put in the chat. Polly, not only great street photographer, great YouTube channel on street photography, but a genuinely solid dude. So check that out if you're interested. If you're shopping around for zines or books, don't sleep on that one. Let's see. Gregory, or wait. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, Greg. I'm from Chicago originally. You are not missing much, Matt. I don't know. While I was there, I appreciated just, what it was. I thought it was beautiful. I do want to go back though and spend more time around there. There's a bunch of places that I've been that I'm like, I would like to go back and actually spend time. Places I've been, especially for work, where I'm not really there just to hang out and walk around. But Molly and I walked around Chicago a little bit the day after we shot a wedding there in like 2018, and it was super fun. So Pequod's Pizza, we ate Pequod's, and that was very good. So that's the only Chicago pizza I have had, but it was very good. So Chicago has great museums. That's one thing that we didn't do while we were there, and I wish we did. When we went to D.C., we went to quite a bit of museums there, and that was great. Actually, I think it's down here. Yeah. So, at the National Gallery of Art, when Molly and I went there in, I think it was also 2018, maybe. 2017 or 2018. But 1,000 Crossings by Sally Mann. This was an exhibition that was going on in D.C. while we were there, and I didn't even know about it. We were there to... What were we there to do? We were there for something. I can't remember what it was. Didn't even know this was going on. And I picked up the book that they made to accompany the show. And, yeah. While we were there in D.C. going to all the museums, that was one thing where I was like, I wish I love living in a small town, but I do I do think I would enjoy a lot of that kind of stuff if I lived in a bigger city. Jackie, have you been using fountain pens as of late? I've not written as much as I want, especially for creativity and photo related stuffs. As a matter of fact, I've been using fountain pens more in the past month or so than I did in the last 6 months to a year. I kind of go through these periods where I'll be using nothing but fountain pens and then I'll use nothing but pencil. And I was like bouncing back and forth on that for a while. But lately I've been using the TWSBI Mini with, I think, Diamine Ox. No, it's not Oxblood. I think it's Vintage Copper. I did have Oxblood in there. I love Diamine inks, and TWSBI pens are probably the best bang for your buck pen, in my opinion, when it comes to fountain pens. The TWSBI Eco is it's like $30, and it's gonna write probably just as good, if not better, than any pen you get out there. TWSBI Mini is what I want for an everyday carry. It's great. I love the Eco, but for the size, for an everyday, like a pocket pen, TWSBI Mini is so good. You won't be disappointed with that. Field Museum is my favorite. I'll have to look into those. Art Institute, Museum of Contemporary Art, and Museum of Contemporary Photography. Dang. Yeah, I need to look into that. Good Lord, that is one big book. Yeah, it's I'll give you a quick little show here. It's a big book, and it was just, made like, it's got the National Gallery of Art right here on the spine. Like, this was made for the show that was going on. Camera's not going to focus. Oh, Ian, there we go. Well, that good to know. TWSBI is best bang for your buck for sure. I promise it'll work for them. Yeah, that's how I always feel about TWSBI. I'm like, I swear I don't make any money off of TWSBI sales, but they're just really good pens. And especially for fountain pens, if people are new, I'm like, just get a TWSBI Eco and you're good. You're gonna have fun. It's a demonstrator, and yeah, I love those pens. So this book, I mean, let me get through because there's a lot of essays at the beginning. Obviously, the show was sort of a retrospective of her work, so there was there's a lot of different stuff in here. But it's printed well. It's a big book. If you like Sally Mann, it's got, maybe not everything, but it's got a lot. Jackie, Oxblood is my go-to for everything. Oh, right on. That's awesome that you not only were familiar with that ink, but that you use it. That's awesome. I love a good red ink, or I've never really liked blue ink. Sometimes I'll go with like a dark green, but yeah, I prefer black or red ink for the most part. Go through here. So there's some more essays. I've read a lot tonight, but I'm not going to read those essays. A lot of her wet plate landscapes, which is really rad because before this book, I didn't have any of that work like in a book like this, so it's a rad one. It's a very big book, but definitely check out. I don't know if I honestly I don't know how likely it would be to find that one now, considering that was just I don't know how many books are made when it comes to stuff like this for a show, but yeah, it's a good one. I was stoked that we just happened to be there that week. It was like the last month, I think, that show was going on, so we caught it right in time. But that's going to be it for this stream tonight. I'm going to need to get inside and work on some stuff, so that's going to be it for tonight. I appreciate you all being here. It felt good to get back. I missed last week when I was sick, and I definitely needed to have this, so I appreciate y'all joining me. Let me know if you guys have any requests for next week. Send me a message, send me an email. It's been awesome. Like, I've been getting emails from people after the streams, or messages as well, DMs, whatever. Just people following up after the stream, letting me know that they enjoyed it and what they'd like to see more of and stuff. So super appreciative. Thank you all for doing that. But yeah, until next week, you all enjoy the rest of your evenings or mornings, wherever you're at. And yeah, love you guys. I'll see you next time.